This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 426.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. Sadly, no WordCamps next week, but WordCamp Europe is like 40 days away from the time this episode comes out, so I'm still looking at possibly going. Should I go? Let me know. Send me a tweet. Vote. I need votes. I need to be convinced to go. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Only one thing here so far this week. Kind of a short, light news week. WordPress 6.0 Beta 2 is out. Contributors have fixed 209 tickets from version 6.0 Beta 1, including 110 new features and enhancements. Excuse me. Wow, that's a lot. I have yet to look at it. I'm sorry. I told Courtney I would. I need to dive into this beta. I'm going to do that right after this recording. How about that? I'm going to install it. Seriously, I'm going to install it today. I have nothing else going on. All right. That in the news? I think that is it in the news. Yeah, like I said, light news week at the moment. Yeah, so moving on to segment 2, the meat potatoes, which is an interview, but stand by. Before that, we're going to say a word from our sponsor.
These days, my life is hectic. From running a WordPress agency, having 3 kids and working with their schedules, working with the local animal shelter, and finding time for date night with my husband, the last thing I want to remember is where I saved the serial number or activation codes for a client project. I knew there had to be a better way, and I was right, thanks to WP Wallet. With WP Wallet, your days of confusing spreadsheets, missed renewals, and forgotten reimbursements are over. WP Wallet's proprietary database includes hundreds of premium plugins, with pricing assigned automatically. The service quickly scans your site, then instantly creates recurring invoices to request reimbursement from your client for license fees. It's so simple, and who isn't a fan of simple? Need a way to share the info with your company internally? WP Wallet has you covered there too. Add as many team members as you want to every site. So, if you're looking for the way to take control of your license or activation code needs, head over to WPWallet.com and check out the demo video. You won't be disappointed.
And once again, thanks to WP Wallet for sponsoring this week's episode. Really do appreciate having you on board, keeping the lights on, the servers running, and humming along just marvelously. Okay, somehow. I'm not sure what that word is. Anyway, moving on. All right, segment 2, meat potatoes. This week, I interview Nicole Osborne, and she's awesome. She's over in the UK. She's in London. Not originally from there. You'll hear all about that in a second. We had a great chat about marketing and coaching and agency ownership, and we spoke like another half hour afterwards. Anyway, take a listen. Here's the interview with Nicole Osborne. Today, I am joined by Nicole Osborne. Nicole is an award-winning marketing coach for digital agency owners, where she helps agency owners fast-track their agency growth online with brand and marketing coaching. Additionally, she loves German bread. We'll talk about that in a minute. Thanks for being on the Kitchen Sink WP podcast, Nicole, and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Adam, for having me. I've been really looking forward to today. So finally we are here. Excellent.
Yes. So for those who listen to the podcast, I always like to tell people, the audience, how I might know the guest. And in this case, we've never met in person that I'm aware of. I could be wrong, but it's been 2 years. Who knows what's happened in the last 2 years? I don't remember. But if I'm not mistaken, we know each other from at least one online WordPress community, if not 2. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So we quite regularly bump into each other at the Go WP Happiness Hour, right?
Right.
Sometimes I sent you some cheeky messages.
Yes. So,
teasing you about your running. So
yes.
This is how we know each other.
Right. I think we have the Go WP as well as the Admin Bar. We're both in those.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were chatting on offline, like while that happens. But you should mention this, mention that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like to do certain things anyway. So that's how we know each other. So with that said, and I always then start off with the question: how did you get here? How did you get into WordPress specifically, or in general, I guess, really?
Mm-hmm. So I set up my own business 5 years ago. Actually, originally I was named Lollipop Social. because I was a traditionally trained marketeer. I'm a chartered marketeer. And I thought, oh gosh, let's get into social media. So I did a social media apprenticeship with a company called Digital Mums. What I found really quickly about it was challenging to find businesses where they could really have a substantial enough investment to make social media work for them and for the kind of money I wanted to earn, having worked in marketing for 20 years. So about 3 years ago, I got to know the lovely Lee Matthew Jackson, which I think you know as well from the agency Trailblazer and Trailblazer community.
Yeah.
And he held an event, which was so cool for agency owners somewhere up north, so not so far from London. But basically it made me realize, oh my God, Nicole, you love working with agency owners. You've been commissioning digital projects for so many years and you can help them market themselves better. So I have Lee to blame for working with agencies and really to thank him. He's made it such an approachable sector for me because, I have to be honest with you. I know I look like pretty confident, but often, this sector is still quite sort of male driven, right? We look into our communities, what would you say, perhaps 75% men and 25% women, if that? And
if that.
A bit daunting.
Yeah, yeah.
That,
I mean,
right?
Just last night I had a meetup, first time in person in 2 years, here locally in Raleigh. And we had 5 or 6 people show up and only one woman. And I went out of my way. After we were done, I talked to her. She's a brand new person using WordPress. I told her, I said, hey, Jen, come back again. There'll be more women next time. I wanted to make sure she was comfortable. But yeah, it's still a very male-dominated thing, and you may not know this, but I'm a big proponent of, I want the equality. I want gender equality. I want pay equality. That's what my big push is. I mean, my team is, I have 5 people that work for me as contractors, or happen to be, they're all women, ironically enough, I hire for who I can afford, who can do the job. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what you smoke. I don't care who you marry. Just be a good person and do the job you're hired to do. So,
absolutely. I just recently spoke at Brighton SEO.
Right.
So I sort of expanded from digital agency owners to also SEO agencies, with very similar challenges, right? And they are particularly brilliant at really, encouraging equality. I just spoke to a delegate who came to my talk and she was really sweet. She really liked what I had to say. So I said, look, I'll give you 30 minutes. Let's have a chat. Perhaps I can help you a bit. And she was considering herself becoming a speaker and she was really daunted by it. So I said, look, you can totally do it. Often it's just the self-belief and it's so worth for your business to put yourself out. But I think particularly for women, I wanted to support her. So I said, look, when you make up your mind to do it, I'll help you, because I think the more we support each other, the more we can sort of shine the spotlight on all the diverse talent we have, right?
Right, absolutely. So I was going to ask you real quick. So you say you're just outside of London, or you're in London, but I hear 2 accents in there. How's that possible?
First of all, sorry, Adam, you make me giggle a lot there. So I blame my husband. So he's a typical North Londoner. So he has like a bit of a Cockney accent, we call it.
Okay.
And originally I'm from former Eastern Germany. You know, I chatted about that.
Yes.
The wall came down in 89 when I was 13 years young.
Yeah.
And there's certain things in my accent which, yes, you'll never quite change. But, you know, Adam, well, for me, the fascinating thing is, so my family's still back in Germany. So I go every August, I'm there, and I try to go 2 or 3 times, really. When I go shopping, people always say to me, you sound so different. You sound exotic. So in both languages, I now have an accent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can count to 10 in German. I can say some bad words. I dated somebody back in the day who was German.
Okay, I love to hear it. I'm sure.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Scheißen, of course.
One. Excellent. I love it.
See? If I count to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
That's good. You got a good accent there.
Not bad.
Keep on going.
Yeah, it's a tough language. It's tough. So.
Oh, yeah. Do you know, I try to learn French because with my name, people assume I speak French. And I did this when I was working at the Financial Times because I was looking after the international markets. But I gave up. It was so hard because all the grammar.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do this.
I can count to 10 in French, too, and say hello and some bad words. Yeah. I know all the 10s.
You have a French girlfriend?
I cannot confirm nor deny. I'll stop with the German one.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Back to the issue at hand of you and coaching and whatnot. So you got into WordPress from SEO perspective, switched into agency coaching. So what's your day-to-day look like? I'm curious.
Yeah, so yesterday I delivered marketing training over Zoom all day, so I was quite tired. But today was a bit more varied. So I had a coaching call earlier on I've got another one next one. So the nice thing by now is I have quite an international network. So it's spaced out between like maybe a coaching call with someone in the UK in the morning and then something later in the afternoon with someone in Florida or Canada or somewhere else in the US. So I typically have 1 or 2 coaching calls. I also sort of tend to have most of Mondays and half of Wednesdays dedicated to producing my own content. Because you and I, we're very active, aren't we, with content marketing, because it's such a good way for us to I guess, to promote ourselves, to add value to our communities, right? So I dedicate time to that. And then I'm also like, I know you're running. I love going for Pilates class. I do that Tuesdays and Thursday mornings because you probably got it. I'm high quiet energy. Apologies, viewers. I speak very fast. Apologies. So Pilates is a nice sort of antidote of just calming down and having some headspace. And typically I will go to a conference if it's on. But yeah, I love the variety of what our jobs bring. I speak to a lot of agencies owner also to find out, to explore how they've grown their agencies, what have been their key milestones. So yeah, I find it totally fascinating to learn people's stories.
So when you came into the space, did you ever, prior to the SEO, did you ever actually do web development for yourself or anybody else?
No.
Smart.
This is obviously an amusing thing for me talking to tech people.
Right.
People. So now I'm a classically trained marketeer. So I used to commission agencies all the time. So for social media to website builds. I mean, it's been really fascinating for me to sort of learn how, when you work in a company, how many hurdles you go through for getting sign-off for your choice of sort of shortlists for agencies, how you convince perhaps your finance director or the rest of your board. And to then sort of working with the agencies and really how important account management is, because, I guess when someone is not so tech, clearly I am not, commissioning new websites, commissioning SEO work is quite challenging because we don't know how good it's going to be until the work is done and we can see the results, right?
Right.
So account management and how people put themselves out there to show what it would be like working with them is so important, because how else are we going to make our decisions, right? It's not just data and portfolios and facts. It's actually, how do the people come across? So for me to helping agency owners with their social media profiles of how they put themselves out there, it's an absolute joy, because I know when they do that, they can attract their best fit clients, because the more you give out yourself and the more you sort of show up as the person you are,
right,
the more authentic you are, and it will resonate with people.
Right. Yeah. So with that actually segues right into the greatest next question. The great question I have next, not the greatest question. It's the great question I have next. Is this?
Have a question.
It's a fantastic question. It's the best question. No. So what are the most common issues you come across with agency owners? Like a mindset issue that, let's say, I'm an agency owner.
Yeah.
And I know I have a lot of baggage, but right at the top, as I was writing out some notes to things to ask you, were like, why are we being agency owners scared to launch things, either a new product or a service? And many people in my space as an agency owner, we all have like side hustles to our side hustles to our side hustles. Like I call myself, I'll tell you, I've renamed myself instead of owner to ideation savant. I love it. So many ideas all the time. I have learned 2 things. 1, not tell my wife about any of them until they're launched. She could care less. And 2, I don't go and buy domains as fast as I used to. I just wait because it saves me a lot of money. So I'm down from 100 to about 25. I used to just buy domains. Yeah. Because here's an idea and it's new and shiny. But anyway, so the question really is, are there any common issues that you come across from an agency owner perspective of mindsets or things that they need help with?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I find, and perhaps I'm a little bit biased because I'm a marketing coach, but I am just so busy with client work. I can't possibly do anything else. And I kind of really get that, because, at the beginning you start out, you take on any project you can to pay your bills, all of that. But often people don't embrace the moment when they have grown in experience, when they're not just a WordPress developer. I think that's fantastic, by the way, but when they're also a consultant, a digital marketing consultant to their clients. And they kind of almost forget to sort of embrace that moment and to start charging better. So it's the whole issue of, I'm just so busy. And you know what, I totally get this. I guess which leads me to the other issue is that mostly they rely on referrals for their business, right? And obviously that's a credit to them, because you can only get referrals if you're really good at what you do. Because, if I send someone a referral, I need to know they're the best at what we do because my reputation is on the line.
Right.
But when you just rely on referrals and you don't do any other form of proactive marketing, your leads can dry up really quickly, and we go through this sort of famous feast and famine kind of cycle. I'm making a baby notion that was obviously a cycle. But also, you kind of get stuck at the same price point. And if there's one thing I've learned, you web agencies owners, you love a decent budget because it means you can deliver the best possible solution to your clients' projects. So it's actually in your interest to break out that sort of price barrier and to work on positioning yourself, to work on proactive marketing so that you and your teams get to work on the most exciting projects. And then finally, and I don't think that's typical of the sector, but of any business owner, we're continuously asking ourselves, do I have a right to sell things? Am I good enough? I can't write blogs. I can't record videos. I can't possibly post on social media. So it's always kind of self-limiting beliefs we're kind of so used to, because also I think society teaches us, perhaps it's a little bit different, but society in the US teaches us kind of to just get on with it. But actually it's more than just getting on with it, right? It's learning what you're really good at and attracting more of those clients.
Yeah, it takes time.
Those three things really. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes we just need someone to be our cheerleader, to guide us in our decisions. Right. And to give us tons of accountability, because you set someone a challenge and suddenly they deliver and exceed, right?
See, you just said the word accountability. I mean, the hardest part I have is it's easy for me to hold other people accountable. And I do some mentoring as well, but no one holds me accountable. I mean, I'm in a mastermind and it's lightly accountable, but I mean, I give credit to where credit's due. 8.5 years ago, I started this podcast because I was in a mastermind. And we had stuff to do every week. And I didn't want to be the person who didn't do my 3 things, which was one of them was launch a show, record a show, publish a show. Every week we were in a mastermind for about 8 weeks until it kind of dissolved. People's schedules changed. So accountability is key, but it's hard to hold myself. I mean, I'm the owner. I have the team. Yeah. My job is to, quote, make it rain. I'm supposed to find the work right now. Yeah. But like you said, as far as that feast and famine, that ups and downs, I'm honest with my audience, and I'll tell you. So last year, 2020 was a banner year for us. It was great. I mean, sadly, but it was good. 2021, I did 35% less income. And to no one's fault but my own. And I know why, because I thought 2020 would roll right into 2021. But since a lot of my clients happen to be nonprofits, they spent the money they needed to spend. They got their sites redone. And I did no more prospecting. I didn't do anything more to plant seeds, period. So I took a hit. I mean, we're still in business, but, there is that feast and famine. So, I mean, luckily I did implement Profit First, which I've talked about a lot. So that has really saved my bacon for not having new income.
Congratulations on all these episodes, because I think this is what I encourage you to shout about in the GoWP Happiness Hour, because you really can't take it for granted. It's an amazing achievement. But it's interesting what you said about planting the seeds, and I believe really strongly on that. It's kind of, you have an opportunity to work right now on your future success version, right? And I think it's also really important to give yourself permission to whatever your version of success is, right?
Right.
So you said you work with a team of 5. I know a lot of agency owners, they're really happy just working by themselves, perhaps 1 or 2 freelancers. And then on the other hand, agency owners who you really want to go for a team of 10, 15 and more. And I think the more you know what it is that suits you and where you are most at ease, I think that's really important to know what your version of success is actually.
It's true. I mean, my 5 are all contractors, and it's one of them is my developer. He gets paid in a pseudo salaried way. I keep him on payroll no matter what, because it's worth having him around. He's overseas. He's fantastic. He's fast. Yeah. My project manager is project based, but she's consistent and she's billing me every month, and she's in country in the US. Designer, QA, and writer are all project based, so there's not consistent. When we at work, they come into play for the projects. But I mean, at one point I thought I wanted a huge big agency, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. At this point, at the age I'm at, you're close to, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, ups and downs of running a business. It's exhausting,
Totally. And you kind of got to really know why you're doing it, right? Because we all have these moments when we really low. And I guess the last 3 years have been really challenges. I remember pandemic hit over here in the UK, and I was talking to one of my peers and I was like, look, if revenue goes down by 20 to 25%, I'll be okay. I'll be absolutely fine. Well, within 3 days of that call, I think revenue went down to 5%. 5%. So it's like, I'm laughing now. At that time, I didn't think it was funny business. But you kind of constantly have to pick yourself up again, launch new things, and really put yourself out there. And God, this sounds like such a cliche, but not be afraid of rejection, right? I did a bit of a sales campaign. We have a whole month I talked about LinkedIn because I know to my audience and on my list, I know LinkedIn is really one of the challenges people face to get more clients. LinkedIn is so formal, la-di-da-di-da, so what can you do?
Right.
So I thought, oh, cool, I do a bit of promotion over Easter for a power hour with me. And, I only sold half of the slots and I was a bit disappointed, but then I thought, actually, this is a great learning opportunity because I can take what I've done and I can replicate it and just make it better and learn from it. And I think this is what you and I and people who run their own businesses constantly have to do, not be afraid of totally failing, right? And then learn from it.
I mean, I know that, I don't know about you, but I feel sometimes lately, I mean, I'm in that little bit of a drift, if you will, whereas I'm doing the bare minimum of running my business in a sense. Because if I'm doing my job right, I found this work and then, I delegate it out and my PM takes over and does stuff. So I don't really need to do much. But then in those days, I'm like, what do I do? It's like, so, I guess I'm trying to maybe look, I'm going after a specific vertical market right now in one aspect. I want to know it and then maybe hire a salesperson to take it over and give them a hefty commission. But it's that ups and downs of like, what do I do with my day if I don't have it, if things are flowing and I don't need to do much? It almost becomes that what do we call it? The unicorn of passive income, right? In theory.
Yeah, I mean, does it really exist, though?
I don't know. I
don't think it does. Personally, I don't think it does.
I mean, yeah. And I don't consider anything, I don't know about you, but I don't consider anything extra money. I call it additional revenue streams. I don't have, I'm not Jeff Bezos. I'm not Bill Gates. I don't have extra money.
Yeah.
I have additional revenue.
I think it's really important to not be too much reliant on one type of client or on one client. I remember, so I set out my business 5 years ago and for 3 years, I was really working highly with one paid social media provider. I was their outsourced marketing director and it was going really, really well. They were happy. I was happy. But then they were sold out and suddenly they had to get rid of all of the contractors, including me. And I found myself in this position where, silly me, I hadn't had saved enough money for taxes.
Oof.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
I suddenly lost about 80% of my income and I hadn't diversified. So it was a really tough moment. But Adam, in a way, failing so miserably has made me a better business person now, I hope. Fingers crossed. Got to go through these things, right?
Yeah. I wanted to circle back to about what you said earlier. You said something about creating content and content marketing, and people tell me, my friend Renee was on this podcast. I think she's been on. Yeah, she's been on. It's been a while. And she even told me, she puts out a lot of content these days on her blog and sharing on LinkedIn like you do as well. And I'm like, and I share the bare minimum about the podcast and stuff. I don't share a ton. And I rarely cross my streams of my personal and my professional life, which is probably to my detriment. Anyway, the point is you put out a lot of content. Renee thinks I do a weekly podcast. I guess that's a lot every week for 8 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I just forget that it's considered content. So, but I noticed you started a YouTube channel about 4 years ago. Why and how has that helped? I mean, would it help for agency owners to have a YouTube channel?
It is never too late to start a YouTube channel. So I set myself a personal challenge way back. I realized pretty early on that there weren't enough women on YouTube. And funny enough, when I looked at the WordPress Awards 2021, where I was the top ranked marketing channel, all the amazing channels mentioned were mostly all men. And it was all tech channels. So I was like, right, Nicole, you absolutely hate video. You are so afraid. You are so nervous. You're going to make yourself do this. And it's okay if your first 100 vlogs are really, really bad. And by the way, I'm on number 59 right now.
Yeah.
But they have become better. And business-wise, it's been absolutely amazing. Two things. So it's really allowed me to share my expertise and to give value to my audience of digital agency owners. And I often find in sales conversations, I always ask, how did you hear about me? Perhaps, see me at a conference, heard me on a podcast like this, signed up to my lead magnet, then got my emails which promote my vlogs, and kind of that trust building, right?
Right.
Someone even said to me, Nicole, you're really great at me in your vlogs, but I thought, I've got to check her out. I've got to jump on the phone with her. So for that, it's been great. So it's the whole brand awareness building, showing up, making myself do something I'm really scared of. And then also for getting leads for my business. So yes, I struggle sometimes, it's, as you know, with podcasting, it's time consuming. Right. I get all my videos edited because I decided early on it wasn't for me.
Okay. So you outsource that.
I outsource
Yeah,
that, yes.
smart.
And I tend to stick to 2 vlogs a month. Now, if I really wanted to be a huge YouTuber, which I don't, I would have to do at least a vlog per week. But, it's got to fit your business aims, right? And a bit like you, I'm at a stage right now where my son is still 7. So I want to see him. I didn't study, do all these things to never see my own son.
Right.
So I love dropping off at school. I love picking up in the evenings. And I don't want to be too stressed out. Now, we run our business and it can be stressful, but I now have an option to say twice a week, I'm going to my Pilates class. In August, I usually spend it in Germany, and I love that flexibility. Now, yes, I do work a lot. I think Eastern German content producers, we work hard, don't we? We research, we produce, we promote, but it's nice to have flexibility when you need it. So that's really my why as well.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, to be respectful of your time, I want to ask you, I have one, maybe 2 more questions. First and foremost, what are the 3 tools that you use kind of to day-to-day, you run your business that you can't live without?
Okay, so challenging, right? But the first one really, it's my WordPress website. And I know it is not a tool as such, but I consider it absolutely hugely important because it allows me to position myself, to say who I'm working with. I can publish my blogs on there. My vlogs are automatically called in. So I think my website, absolutely one of the most important tools in my whole arsenal of tools.
Out of 8 years of this podcast and me asking dozens of people this question, you're, I think, the first person to ever use WordPress as one of the tools. That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I know you're probably expecting my favorite tech stack.
Yeah.
And I have one for you.
Okay.
But the second one, which might really surprise you, and I know I'm being controversial, but it's actually social media. Social media for me is a tool.
Makes total sense.
It's a tool. Right, it's a tool to get known by new audiences, to establish yourself. And I remember particularly when I was starting out, don't forget, I come from a corporate environment where I was a marketing director, and I was part of that hugely successful brand. Then all of a sudden, marketing my own services and myself felt really alien. So social media was really key, and particularly in the early days, Twitter. Nowadays, I really hone into YouTube and LinkedIn. That's where I'm most serious about my marketing. And then the third tool, an old-fashioned one, apologies, but I love it for collaborating with my clients. Actually, Google Docs in combination with either ClickUp or Basecamp, because it's so easy to sort of set each other challenges, to keep up on progress, and it's so flexible as well, right? You create something in a Google Doc, you can share it, you can do a presentation, it looks almost the same at the other end. So I think Google Docs in combination with ClickUp or Basecamp.
Interesting. Yeah, I've looked at ClickUp a few times. We use Asana.
Oh yes, I use Asana too.
Yeah, so we use Asana for project management. I use Freshdesk for ticketing, and I use FreshBooks for billing stuff. But so we thought about switching to ClickUp, but it's a lot. I mean, at the moment what we do. Asana works for us. It's like, yeah.
Do I work with my editor on Asana. The reason why I've expanded into ClickUp and Basecamp is I felt with my clients, if I'm in their face, as in generally, I'm in their daily productivity team, they have a joint list of me on there, they're so much more likely to take the actions. So I'm like, right, I'm going to learn these systems because I want to offer that flexibility. But I think Asana is great as well.
Yeah,
totally.
Makes sense. Okay, interesting. So final question, where can people find you online? If they want to reach out, learn more about you, where would you send them?
The easiest way is to come to my website. So www.wunderstars.com.
That's WONDER, stars.
Oh, sorry, no, it's WUN.
That's what I thought. Okay, Make sure they're both in the accent there. Okay, Wonder Stars.
I'm really sorry. German accent mixed in with a W, so it never works.
It's all good. That's awesome. I'm curious. So your first language was obviously Germany. Total random question here. What do you dream in? English or German?
It's brilliant. When you're truly bilingual, so in Germany, I'm most likely to dream in German. Do the first time I knew I could speak English, when I could shout at my then husband, now then boyfriend, now husband in English.
Nice. My mom being from Poland, and half my family Polish and Russian, I always ask that question, like when people that transition to when they start dreaming in English is when they become completely fluent,
It's amazing. You don't even notice. It just happens.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Okay, so wonderstars.com. Where else? Anywhere else?
Yeah, come and see me on YouTube, because this is really where I share all of my best tips for marketing agencies twice a month. So it's Wunderstars, Nicole Osborne on YouTube. I would love to say hello on YouTube. Absolutely.
I will link to all that in the show notes. Want to thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us, and we'll see you. Well, last question: are you going to WordCamp Europe in Porto?
Oh, I'm actually not this time
Okay.
because it's a sort of school holidays, but I was looking at it, and I would imagine that maybe next year I'll apply to be speaking because I know you might be there, right?
I might go this year still. Yeah, it's 45 days away, but it's I have the perk of some inexpensive travel through my wife.
Oh, right, and it's an amazing place. So yeah, and what a huge get together. Yeah, definitely. I definitely recommended it.
Yeah, I'll probably go. I think.
Go on. I'm gonna be in Brighton again in October.
I got to figure out what to do with the dog that week if I'm gone, because I'll be gone like a week. I can't just go for the weekend. I have to go a couple days before.
I know.
Spend a day after.
Dogs, children. It's very similar.
My kids are old enough to be on their own, so yeah, I have teenagers.
Mine isn't.
I know,
my mum has to come over, and it's just a lot of organizations.
So, all right, thanks again so much, and we'll see you online. We'll see you at the next online Go admin bar.
WP Happiness Hour.
Some happiness thing. So thanks again. Thanks.
Dankeschön.
Thanks. And once again, thanks, Nicole, for being on the podcast. Really loved talking to you. Seriously, she's awesome. A lot of energy. We match up really well with the pace of things. So she's amazing. So check her out over at wonderstars.com as well. So, all right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip is a plugin. It's a plugin, database cleaner. It's by Meow Apps. It's a simple but complete database cleaning tool for your WordPress website. It aims at handling oversized databases. There's a free level and a paid level. It's over at meowapps.com. It's MEOW apps.com. I can't not giggle when I say Meow Apps. Anyways, I'll put a link in the show notes. There's a free and a paid version. Check it out. I have no connection to them. I just heard about it, and people seem to like it a lot, and it works really well if you have a really large database. So check it out over there. All right, that's it this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is it. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use the speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can. There's a Patreon button. You can press that and donate. You can also sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Again, thanks to WP Wallet for sponsoring this week's episode. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.